son of a bitch.
Hit you with the drop kick, Marty Jannetty. No, I hit you with the drop kick, Marty Jannetty. No, I hit you with the drop kick, Marty Jannetty. No, I hit you with that drop kick, Marty Jannetty.
Let me do this again.
Oh, it's live.
Round a little earlier, but we're back in here as usual. A hot tag or wrestle corner. Had a little bit of hiccups there in the beginning, trying to get things lined up. Still didn't quite line up, but fuck it, we here on Super Bowl Sunday. I'm one half of your host, Rob.
I'm Clint.
Coming at you in this week of February the 11th, 2024, year of our Lord. Let's get into the news. We're going to keep it simple this week. No Mount Rushmore. Not really a Tony Schiavone moment, more of a Taz moment on Dynamite this week, but we'll get into that. He was on one. But let's start with the news. More icky Vince McMahon shit to start with, to begin with. And then from there, we got some other funny news stories and such covering this week. And also, WWE had a lot going on with their WrestleMania press conference and stuff and things that bounced off from there. So let's get into that.
Yes. All right, so let you start. We're going to start the Vince thing.
Let's
a couple
do
statements
that.
I'll put in. Let's get that crap out.
All right, so we have more.
Get out the way first.
More Vince McMahon and his allegations. We have a couple of different stories here.
Do not like talking about this, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I hate that we have to keep bringing it up every week, but seems to be like an onion. The more layers you peel, the more it's revealed, I guess you would say. So, in a newly released statement from Ashley Mazzaro, who unfortunately passed away, unaliving herself a few years back, rest in peace. But this is a sworn affidavit, so this means this was in front of legal officials, judges, lawyers, and such in a court of law. So this is a legally binding document where she put these statements out that have been released, and they are alleging predatory behavior from Vince McMahon. As previously reported, the late Ashley Mazzaro's name is back in the news after lawyers for John Laurinaitis responded to a 2019 affidavit from Mazzaro, where in 2019, Mazzaro claimed that she was raped by someone posing as a doctor in the military during the 2006 Goodwill tour by the WWE in Kuwait, and that the WWE covered up the sexual assault. It was alleged that they tried to cover it up because they didn't want to destroy the relationship they've had with the military as far as the performing for the troops, tribute for the troops shows and such. Laurinaitis' lawyer objected to the terms of cover-up and said Laurinaitis was aware of Mazzaro's allegations at the time, along with most upper-level management. This contradicted WWE's statement, though, from 2019, saying that they were never informed of the alleged assault. Instead, they tried to get her to cover it up, but they lied.
You know, he said he's a victim of Vince now, so I guess he's letting everything out now.
Now, Vice News reports that previously unreleased statement from Mazzaro also has alleged that McMahon, who himself is now under federal criminal investigation for sexual trafficking, rape, and more. According to the unearthed statement, Mazzaro claimed that McMahon sexually pried on female wrestlers as they were punished for turning him down by getting bad scripts for their meant to destroy their reputation. Talking about their promos. She gave the statement to her lawyers while preparing an affidavit. Here's the statement. Quote, during my time with WWE, I had observed Vince McMahon making out with other divas in the locker room, but he never paid attention to me, and I assumed I was not his type. That changed after my Playboy cover was released. I was fortunate enough to be allowed to fly on company jets and stay at the same hotels as execs for a period of time so that I can get home fast and spend more time with my daughter. On one of these occasions, Vince was attempting to get me alone with him in his hotel room late at night, and I felt extraordinarily uncomfortable. I began calling the hotel room phone and my cell phone, or he began calling my hotel room and cell phone nonstop. I called Kevin Dunn to explain the situation. Probably the wrong person to call. That was like his right-hand man.
Yeah, definitely the wrong person to call.
And he said I should tell Vince I was not feeling well and would see him on TV the next day. So I did. Immediately after that, Vince started writing my promos for me. Vince does not write promos for female wrestlers. This is a job of the creative department. And he certainly wouldn't have, under any other normal circumstances, written a promo for me, but he did. And the promos were written with clear intention of ruining my career. I brought the first script Vince wrote for me to a WWE employee in charge of creative at the time, Michael Hayes. And he says, "You're not saying this. Who the blank wrote this?" And I told him that Vince did. And he said, "Well, kid, these are the breaks." Meaning that Vince wanted to end my career and destroy my reputation on the way out. He's known for the type of behavior. He also did this to a redacted name, it says in that document, upon her departure from WWE. In addition, after that night, each time I walked by him, he would make vulgar sexual comments that were clearly designed to make me feel uncomfortable. End quote. TKO did not comment about this other than to confirm Michael Hayes currently works for the WWE as a producer. Vice redacted the name of the other wrestler Massaro mentioned to protect that wrestler's privacy. The statement was obtained by Constantine Kairos and Erica Mirabella, who represent Massaro and other former wrestlers in a lawsuit seeking damages related to traumatic brain injuries. Mirabella said the decision was made to focus on sexual assault, which is why the statement was never public before. She said, quote, Ashley was extremely detailed, thoughtful, thorough throughout the entire process. Our colleagues ultimately decided we should focus on the sexual assault and physical in-ring injuries Ashley sustained. So I discussed this with Ashley and she agreed that we could remove it. So it was deleted. Then we finalized the affidavit. She signed it and we submitted it to the court. So here's my thing with that, and this isn't taken up for Vince, but if you took that out to focus on one thing, how do you then turn around and then go back to it to try to, like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's your story, but why not share all of that at the time? Whether you're having this case focus on one thing or another, it was all part of it, so why take it out, is my question. Yeah. And I get their legal standing because they're trying to focus on just her injuries were the part of that lawsuit they were trying to focus on, I guess, there. So I get that, but at the same time, I wouldn't have took it out. Lay it all to bear. He did it.
Yeah.
You know? Your skeleton's in your closet, you know?
Or maybe it's one of those situations, though, where you wait to the perfect time.
He's also been accused this week of, let's see if I can remember everything correctly. Sorry, I don't have these statements right in front of me. I've just heard these from different reports and stories I've been listening to.
Get her scripts changed around like that, Kevin Dunn know more than what's name. She probably told Dunn everything that happened, and he probably went and told Vince.
There was a former female, like the first ever female referee in WWE history. I forgot her name off the top of my head. She accused him of rape from back in the day. There was a former female wrestler who he coerced into giving him head, and then he had her fired. She's suing him also. There's another.
He said more names was gonna come up.
There's a masseuse, they said, I believe somewhere in Florida, that is also accusing him of sexual misconduct during a session there.
What did Deshaun Watson?
Yeah. And there was another one that was fired who's suing him also because she had a full-on affair with him. Ended the affair, either with him or Laurinaitis. Ended the affair, and then she was fired. So that's like 4 or 5 right there if you include Ashley Massaro. No, 6 if you include Janelle Grant also, who the one that got all of this really started here, you know, or restarted, I should say. So off of that, we have statements from Bret Hart. Previous report of Vince McMahon. We know the sexual allegations. I'm not going to have to restate all that. In an interview with Slate, Bret Hart said the text message Vince allegedly sent to Janelle Grant sound like him and called the situation sick and disgusting. Quote, on reading the allegations, and this is some of the highlights. Quote, when you get that vision in your head, you go, that's messed up. It's too sick and disgusting to really imagine. Excuse me. On the text messages, they sound like Vince. And if he thinks more will come forward, quote, I don't think this is the only incident of this kind of predatory behavior. I think you'll find this everywhere in WWE. Excuse me. And why he never spoke out against McMahon, quote, it's kind of like The Godfather. You never know when a guy like Vince will be your enemy again over something that you say or do. He's the Teflon guy. You just can't seem to get anything on him. He's just too powerful.
Oh, John Gotti now, huh?
Got too much money. Apparently, he's been getting away with this for years, and we're just now talking about trying to get him out of the public eye. And apparently, this has been going on his whole time. He's been in WWE, and he's owned this since before I was born. And I'm about to be 40 this year. So, what would you think? Yeah, I'd say he's pretty fucking Teflon too. On apologizing to Rita Chatterton. That's the name of the first ever female referee in WWE he was accused of raping. Apologizing to her, quote, I apologize from the bottom of my heart, and I said I believe what happened to you, and I apologize, I was wrong, end quote. That's from Bret Hart. I guess maybe he didn't believe a past accusation from her.
Okay, that's what I was about to ask. I'm like, wait, is he apologizing to her because of like
he did it
for Vince, or did he apologize because he probably like?
I'm assuming the way it sounds like somebody made an accusation in the past and he didn't believe it or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Or asked him about a past accusation that he didn't believe. This is the last I have on it. I don't know if you have any, but
No.
Slapnuts himself, who didn't make an appearance on TV this week, but it's very inappropriate for me to do our typical.
It's not a moment for it.
It's not a Slapnuts moment.
Yeah,
it's not. It's not the moment where we defecate on him on our show. It's all in love, but it's just this ain't the situation.
That's a bad word to use.
Oh, we are. We're making fun of him.
No, that's two different things.
But yeah, this isn't.
Vince was accused of too opposingly. Like,
but this isn't the time or place for that. Is what I'm saying with this. But he did make statements about it on his podcast, My World with Jeff Jarrett, where he said in the recent Raw segment, Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes from post Royal Rumble episode, he was basically talking about their statements about the Janelle Grant case. He said, quote, I've said over and over and over, creative is absolutely subjective. And you're telling me, hey, we may or may not pivot from Against All Odds. We may or may not pivot from Jerry Lawler. Well, Connie, here we are. And I'm just thinking, and Connie being Conrad Thompson.
yeah.
I just referenced the work shoot promo. So the shoot part of the storyline is that he legitimately, and I'm saying this in a wrestling sense, Rollins has already gotten beat 3 times, and Seth was 100% when Cody was 60% with the torn pec, and Cody won. Now Seth this is not talking about that. Hold on, sorry. I don't know why. That's my bad. That's my bad for not proofreading this fully before I jumped into it. The portion we want is this part on the Vince McMahon allegations. Being a big PR problem with WWE, he says, not only I think I've been alive since the steroid trial, the Benoit situation, and those are two that come to mind. The situation is magnified, and look, that's why I want to be careful. The Benoit situation was a loss of our lives, very, very tragic. But the founder, the world's biggest box office attraction, WrestleMania, all the different factors. Your question was if they had a PR problem. I'm going to say it's the biggest public relations issue in the history of our industry.
Man, biggest. Seeing that was going on for this long. And
sorry, the other part was just talking about.
It's been going on for this long, and
WrestleMania main event.
It's just now coming out. I mean, it just shows. I think we was talking about this. It just shows that like you got all that money, you rich and powerful. You have stuff as long as you can, or try to turn things your way. Bret Hart said he had absolutely zero respect for Vince McMahon after allegations. I mean, he didn't really have that much respect for him anyway, but I guess this just knocked it all the way down. So, of course, the prosecutors in New York are investigating a sexual assault and sex trafficking allegation against Mr. McMahon. Of course, the feds have contacted women who have accused them last year, with some of the women that you mentioned. They searched his phone, you mentioned the text messages, subpoena, allegations of rape, sex trafficking, sexual assault, commercial sexual transaction, harassment, and discrimination. They had 3 more things on that. He said, I don't think this is the only incident of this kind of predatory behavior. I think you'll find it everywhere in WWE. It's like Jeffrey Dahmer, Harvey Weinstein, or Jeffrey Epstein. Vince will be a joke. He'll be used for humor, and he will shake your head. He will shake your head at the shock value of some joke about, well, what did Vince McMahon do? He will always be associated with the story, especially as it gets bigger and bigger. I always have respect for him. Now it's tainted. I'm embarrassed that I thought so highly of him. I think despite all the issues I ever had with Vince, I know deep down I always respected him. But now knowing what kind of a weirdo he became, I had absolutely zero respect for him. I don't think I could shake his hand if he ever extended it. Too creepy. So, yeah.
That's a trip.
So that was the end for the Bret Hart. You got anything else on the list?
Nope.
All right, I'll go into these next 2 Bret Hart stories then.
Save the Billy Jack for last.
I'm going to say that. This one. So, you know how Bret Hart always talks about modern day wrestling? He said, I think it's stupid that you got 20 guys standing right there while one guy flips and then they all fall down. Well, he was asked about one certain superstar. Asked Rhea Ripley, and he actually has praise for her. He said, I like her a lot. I like her poise, her staying in character, and sort of living her. She's adapted to a character that's fun to play, and she's playing it full full tilt. She's putting a realism into what it is, and I miss that in a lot of wrestling today. She's just making it more real, and she's basically she makes it feel pretty real at times. Her career, like when she goes on interviews and everything like that, like she actually plays into like the whole like character and everything like that, like you say back in the old days. Like I was watching the old wrestling documentary, and they talked about how Sheik and Hacksaw Jim Duggan got pulled over, and it got Jim Duggan temporarily suspended, and they got Sheik fired. Fired because they was breaking one of the rules, one of the unwritten rules back there. Kayfabe back there with heels hanging out with baby faces. Next story, Bret Hart. Wrong.
Damn, there's a lot to say this week.
No, this was funny. He's talking shit about Goldberg. We always cool for him talking crap about Goldberg. One of the funny moments that I like. He was interviewed. He discussed the state of pro wrestling again. He basically said it's hard to criticize something that seemed to be going through the roof. Wrestling had a little surge in the last few years. Even in my case, I may be revered or popular as I ever been, as maybe the salutes I'm getting from guys like CM Punk and FTR, different wrestlers that mention my name or do something I did in the ring, as a nod of salute to me. I appreciate that. I think CM Punk alone has done a lot to remind wrestling fans to take a look at some of the stuff that I was doing and how good it was. And I'm starting to think that it's standing out now, in my honest opinion, without trying to sound too boastful. They pulled the curtain back on wrestling so much. We know this whole thing's a show, but they're good physical actors. You watch my wrestling and you go like, geez, he was the best. I think I make it more real than anybody. I make stuff look good. I make my own stuff look good. Nothing look rehearsed. I think that's the problem in wrestling today. And now I gotta find where he talked about Bill Goldberg. Or maybe this whole. Oh wait, nope. Oh no, never mind. I was right. This whole thing is about Bill Goldberg. We have to rant about Bill Goldberg. Full story, folks. Okay then. So I guess all this stuff is shot at Bill Goldberg. Okay, so I will continue. He said when he got down over the top rope on the 20 wrestlers, it's just not real. With the chops, everybody chopping themselves. It's a bunch of baloney. Nobody ever won a match with a chop. All the wooing is taken away from the beauty and the art of wrestling. There are great wrestlers that can deliver great matches. There are so many wrestlers out there that are subpar, in my opinion. They don't know what they're doing out there. And they allow themselves to rely on things like chop, which I sort of think is cheap heat. You get reaction, but what's your reaction? You're whipping a guy across the chest with your hand. Okay, you're hurting some guy for real for some stupid reason. And the crowd reacts to it. In my understanding of pro wrestling, anytime anyone does something that hurts you for real, chopping, put blisters on your chest, when go to your room or your bed, anytime anyone does things to you that's real, they're in the wrong business. They're doing it wrong because you're not supposed to get hurt. You're not supposed to come back to your dressing room that night or your hotel room and have a big lump on your head and a black eye and your teeth knocked out. That's Bill Goldberg wrestling. That's not how it's done.
Oh, now it comes full circle. Now I understand. I get it now. All right. So he doesn't like the realism in it, though. He's the one that's supposed to have these rubber mallet punches that aren't supposed to feel them, but they don't hurt you. I get it. He's considered himself the safest wrestler ever. People aren't complaining about how other people are working nowadays, and if they are, that shit comes to the light. So apparently, all this strong style, which is a lot of chops and stuff, which he's talking about, something that he wouldn't know about because he didn't have that type of thing when he was in WWE. Matter of fact, all you know is WWE. If you were out here like these other independent wrestlers of the world who had to travel across the world to prove their craft before they got to the big time, what you really didn't have to do, you were in Calgary, and then you were in the big time. You weren't in other places. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really know where your experience with these other things come along in. This is a different world than what you wrestled in, bro. You got to open your mind to that. You know what I'm saying?
I just like the fact that he just takes shots at Goldberg.
But then but at the same time, he's taking shots. The whole rant was directed at Goldberg type wrestlers, but he's taking shots at everybody that wrestles today. Basically, all of AEW, other than like a Moxley, who don't do a dive there, and who don't catch somebody on a dive. Everybody do it.
Everybody do it.
It's part of the business. You're supposed to let the other guy get. If you don't catch them, then you're letting them get hurt. Isn't what you're talking about supposed to be like you're supposed to be able to go home and not be hurt at the end of the night? If I don't catch him on a dive, that's not gonna happen for him. See what I'm saying? Like I get your argument, but it's a different world, bro. Accept that. You know what I'm saying? I don't get that. That's something I can give Slapnuts credit for. He lives in a world where he understands times adapt and change. You got to roll with the punches.
Yeah.
Bret Hart's not in that world, and that's why he's not involved in professional wrestling.
Oh, he ain't in that world. He just sticks. He has strong. Couple things I forgot to mention. Couple things about Brock Lesnar real quick. He has been replaced in the WWE's in on forever. He's been replaced by LA Knight. Don't get the because this ain't one of those times to do the what's the name? Also, too, he's not likely to be removed from WWE 2K24. They did take him off the poster for the WrestleMania 40 moments of WrestleMania. They took him off the poster, but he will not. And I have an issue with this just because of the fact that you're basically saying like, oh, if we take Brock Lesnar out, it delays the game and everything like that. I don't care if it delays the game. There's some serious accusations that's going on here. And I get it. Brock ain't like Brock out there like Vince McMahon, John Lennon, but like your name still has been mentioned in this in some kind of way. So even though you're not directly, doing what they were doing, but you're still involved in this some kind of way though. Of course, they say that she allegedly got trafficked to Lesnar during a period where they was unsure if he would re-sign with WWE. He got taken out the promotional ad, but he won't be removed out the game. Brandon Thurston from WrestleNomics reported that the video game producer is taking steps to update the game in accordance with WWE action. So maybe they might take him out probably later, probably, but they're not taking him out like when the game like first released. But I'm assuming probably when they release and they do updates and all that stuff, they'll probably take him out then, I'm assuming. Okay. But as of right now, he's going to be part of the showcase mode in WWE 2K24. So
he's still in the game.
He's still in the game for now. So
okay.
Maybe they might watch today. So let me go to another one. Let's get this out the way first. Let's go to our boy Anthony Dwayne Wilson, man. This is a short one. So this the guy that basically said that AEW and WWE plagiarized off him and they stole all this stuff for Bullet Club and he was going to start his own promotion with some of these people and he's trying to sue for like $250 million in damages. Of course, the lawsuit was originally dismissed, but he has refiled it. So basically, AEW got an extension that has until February 23rd to respond. WWE has until March 7th to respond. Which basically means, bro, they ain't taking none of you saying serious, bro. Like, they look like, really, bro? Why are you bringing this back up, man? Why are you bringing this up? Like, oh, excuse me. Like, I don't know. Let's see.
Let me know when you get your Scott the Mork, and then I'll get the mother Saudi bitch moment of the week.
Yeah, I got two.
The rest of my stories are really short.
Yeah, I got two Saudi bitches. Of course, our one story, Scott the Mork, and I got, going to the story real quick. Maurice has been diagnosed with serious borderline tumors. She will undergo a hysterectomy in 4 weeks. So, she took to Instagram and post. This is a long Instagram post, so good thing is she did it in paragraphs, so I ain't gotta read everything. No,
please don't.
No,
we gotta get into this.
No, I'm not
gotta
about to
get
read
into the
all
show
that.
soon.
I'm about to. Okay, I'm gonna go to the case stuff. She said a little background on what happened. I've been suffering from severe abdominal distension and swelling to the point where I would look 6 months pregnant. A lot of GI issues. Multiple antibiotics, extreme fatigue. I wasn't feeling like myself. My symptoms would come and flare up, and it got worse to the point it became chronic. She said, I've seen countless doctors, no diagnosis. I went down a long list of testing for colonoscopies, pill cam, MRI, ultrasound, CT scan, blood tests, just to name a few. She thought it was probably hormonal or just something her body was allergic to. She even had her house tested for mold. She was told to let it go. She thought it would figure herself out at the time. She said she was just impatient. She met her doctor, and they said they would get to the bottom of this. Then she went into surgery. They performed a laparoscopy surgery. They found and removed 11 implants from around her uterus, her ovaries, and connective tissues around her organ and her abdominal cavity. Those got sent for testing. Then they came back as serious borderline tumor, which is a rare pre-cancer of the ovaries. It's sneaky and aggressive, and if it becomes cancerous, the survival rate is less than a year.
Yeah. That sucks.
So they caught it. Seemed like they caught it like before it became cancerous. So she's gonna have surgery in 4 weeks. She's gonna have her uterus, ovaries, fallopian tube, cervix, all will be removed, and she will get lymph nodes for staging. She's saying she remaining positive. She just want to bring light to women healthcare. Women get so conditioned to believe that it's normal to suffer most in silence. She said y'all need to stop being crybabies about it. It's not your anxiety or in your head. It's not normal. The cycle has to be broken. Don't dismiss things. Go to a doctor and get the help that you need. Advocate to push yourself and keep pushing. Follow your instincts and never underestimate your gut feeling. Basically, so prayers for Maurice. Hope everything goes. Hope everything comes out fine for her. I mean, you wanna go into Saudi bitch Uncle Eric or?
Nah.
Got no more.
Let me get through. I got a couple short ones.
Okay.
Sonya Deville got married over the weekend. Daria Baronato, also known as Sonya Deville.
Yes.
And Tony Cassano officially tied the knot. The WWE star and her fitness model fiance said "I do" on February 10th at the Legacy Castle in New Jersey, a sprawling venue that the brides, both being called brides, there's my requesting that for the show, joke was ironically quite big for their intimate ceremony, surrounded by 140 of their closest family and friends. And get this, the ceremony was officiated by Maria Menounos. Also, in the news, Tony Khan had an update on Kenny Omega. As reported mid-December, Omega announced that he was out of action and definitely had to be diagnosed with diverticulitis, same thing Brock Lesnar had when he was in the UFC. Khan appeared on Sports Grid over the weekend during the interview when asked about Omega's status. Quote, "Kenny, we're all very worried about him. He's doing better. He was seriously sick. His life could have been threatened had he not gotten to the doctor when he did. He was really sick, and thankfully he's doing much better." He continued that we all wish Kenny the best. Looking forward to seeing Kenny back in AEW as soon as he's healthy.
Yeah, man.
And
They ain't go to the hospital. He would have what's the name? Like,
my last short story is Tatanka says that Virgil has suffered multiple strokes. Virgil reportedly suffered several strokes, according to WWE alumnus Tatanka, who posted this, quote, "Got a message from a friend that Virgil was not doing good and he had several strokes. There is a power in prayer. Everyone come together and please say a prayer for Virgil. If it was you, you would want the same. Hashtag love one another. We're all imperfect human beings on this journey called life." WWE at WWE. Hashtag Jesus. Hashtag faith. Hashtag WWE Universe. Hashtag vintage. Hashtag thankful. Hashtag WWF. Hashtag Native American. Hashtag Tatanka. Hashtag God. Hashtag wrestlers. Hashtag classic. Hashtag old school. Hashtag truth. Hashtag WWE. Hashtag wrestling. I'm just reading the quote.
Hashtag Tanaka. You had to really hashtag yourself in there, huh? I ain't seen no hashtag Virgil.
There's a lot of hashtags.
I ain't seen no hashtag Virgil. I ain't seen no hashtag his real name. Like,
there's a lot of hashtags.
that was a lot of hashtags.
All right, we on our
hashtag WWF. That one got me.
He said hashtag vintage. It's like, damn, good.
That's like somebody that know how to use Twitter.
All right. So we can get into the all I got left is Scott D'Amore. So if you got anything else other than that, we can get into it.
Should we talk about Saudi bitch?
Which one?
Yeah, Uncle Eric.
Yeah, the Scott D'Amore, right?
No, the one about you want to talk about him saying Okada and them ain't gonna be needed?
Oh yes, please.
First thing we talked about, he said that he believed Brock will wrestle again. Think over in Japan, but as you said, probably not because he left Japan on bad terms.
So last time he was in New Japan was 2005 when he first left the WWE. He went there after taking time off from wrestling because he didn't have another way to make money other than in wrestling before he discovered he can go make money in the UFC. He won the IWGP Heavyweight Championship in his very first bout against Shinsuke Nakamura. And then they wanted him to come back for another bout, and he was like, "Nah, I ain't doing that shit." And he wouldn't send the belt back either, so they were pissed. So I doubt that he's going to be able to go wrestle in Japan anytime soon. But continue.
Yeah. So basically, he think Okada would be a bigger star in AEW, basically. But he said, though, nothing's going to be a needle mover until there's a drastic creative change. He's going back to the creative again. Wasn't he in creative when he was with AEW, or was he just there to moderate something?
No, he
keep mentioning creative.
All he did was
AEW,
moderate, bro. All he did was moderate, bro.
He talked about creative like he was part of the creative circle or something, like they had him on creative or something.
No.
He said, till there's a drastic, strategic, creative change in the approach, nothing's going to change. How many times do we have to see it? It's not going to work. So wait, are you saying somebody comes up from WWE that's a big star? Oh my gosh, they're going to be a needle mover who can move the needle just a little further to the dead side of the equation? Thoughts?
Say it one more time.
He said nothing's going to be a needle mover until there's a drastic creative change. Until there's a drastic strategic creative change in approach, nothing's going to change. How many times do we have to see it and we go, that's not going to work? So wait, you saying somebody could come up from WWE, that's a big star? Oh my gosh, they're going to be a needle mover who can move the needle just a little further to the dead side of the equation.
Here's my thing. All right, Mr. 83 weeks, I have to say. You had your 83 weeks. I give you props there. Congratulations.
Can I say something real quick?
Let me finish.
I know what it is.
After your 83 weeks were done, what did you proceed to do after that? Run that bitch into the motherfucking ground trying to keep up with WWE, and it didn't work. Mm-hmm. Then they removed you from power instead and put in Vince Russo, who made it worse. Then you tried to run a power coup to get that bitch back, and instead they said, nah, we ain't fucking with you. Let's just sell to Vince and get the fuck up out of here, because it wanted nothing to do with wrestling anymore for a while. So I would like to know where you are the motherfucking guru of moving needles. You did it for 83 weeks at the time of wrestling was completely different. 90% of the fucking show were squash matches, at least in the first hour. And then in the second hour, when you put together your convoluted storyline that you had, which was good at first when you had the NWO, till it got fucking bloated and got beyond 3 fucking members of it, and then nobody gave a fuck. Which y'all said yourselves. Like, the point that people started rooting for them, they knew it was done. They were trying to put other people over, and Russo kept saying, not Russo, I'm sorry, Bischoff kept coming back like, no, let's add him in, or let's just beat him up. We got to get over at the end of the day. They have a guy beat him, like they said when Piper beat Hogan back around in Starrcade 96. Next night on Nitro, just pretended it didn't happen. Just no sell it. That's what we do. No sell what we just saw in front of our own eyes. Yeah, that's the way to get it over. Like, come on, man. I'm so tired of him constantly having AEW in your mouth, bro. It's one thing if, like, you had a real reason to have a beef. I feel like because you offer some help or something to Tony Khan that he apparently did not accept, that you want to shit on them repeatedly and talk about how dominant the other company is when it ain't even no competition. So I'm not understanding.
You're the only one that making this a competition.
Exactly.
Wrestling fans ain't making it a competition. Wrestling fans just happy they get.
I don't hear wrestling fans coming out and shitting on this.
They're not making it a competition. They just like, oh man.
I don't hear them coming out and shitting on AEW. If they have an issue with something going on storyline wise, people talk about it. People talked about a lot of the bills going into a lot of pay-per-views, but did they complain after those matches at the pay-per-views? No, because them always came out hitting it out the park. The road to it got a little sticky. They're working on fixing these things. But I feel like you think they're just stuck in the mud and have it. And it's like, I don't think you're even watching the product anymore at this point. I think you're just talking shit to talk shit. Like, because honestly, if you honestly watch the product, could you kind of honestly feel like that?
I just think he's just jealous because, you know, he had 83 weeks and he didn't think AEW would last this long.
For real. He said that from the beginning.
I just think he's just jealous that AEW was still around, and like he looked like, man, dang, they should have been they should have killed it how
and to be honest
we
with
got
you,
killed.
To be honest
I
with
just
you,
think he's jealous.
Outside of those, I think so too, because outside those 83 weeks, AEW's numbers are shitting on anything WCW was doing prior to those 83 weeks and after those 83 weeks. And if you don't believe me, go look at the numbers. As much as people love WCW from 93 and 94, back when Bader was the champ, was going against fucking Cactus Jack and Sting and shit back in the day, those were some of the worst houses they ever had. They did not have any source of motherfucking, like, what do they call it? Merch?
Yeah.
That didn't exist there before the NWO in 96.
NWO is what they did it all, basically.
For
yeah.
years. They had their own magazine nobody cared about for years as the NWO was there. The only time you did numbers was in your 83-week stretch. Before that, when you took charge of that motherfucker in 92 until July of 96 when that shit happened, bro, y'all wasn't doing shit. You brought in the biggest wrestler in the world in Hulk Hogan and had to turn him heel because he wasn't doing shit. So what the fuck are you talking about? Bro, you're not the king of this shit. Please quit talking like that. I'm tired of that shit. Continue, man. I'm telling you, look at AEW's numbers for their houses and their ratings. They're as good as, if not better, than WCW in 92 until July 96 and after the 83 weeks to any other time
be honest,
that he ran it.
The 83 weeks, no offense to the 83
And that includes your time in TNA, you piece of shit.
No offense to the 83 weeks, but let's be honest. It was NWO, but can you say more like, was it more NWO or was it at that time that he just ain't really had nobody? Cause it
was a combination of both.
Cause like you pushing these we pushing Mabel as
it's a combination of both. It happened to be you happen to come with more of a realism thing that you stole from Japan with NWO, but you won't admit it. But
then you just ain't had it.
You spoke of where you got the idea from, but won't admit the fact you stole it and just used it in the United States. But that's here and there. So what WWE had in the other time, this is the new generation. So when every gimmick was a job.
Yeah.
The hockey player guy.
The
Repo Man. The garbage man dude. Skinner, this guy tames animals. You know what I'm saying? All type of whack shit.
So you could say it probably was more the fact that
they were on a downslide at the time.
Triple H, before he became Triple H, what was he like not a butler? I don't want to say
he was like an elitist.
Yeah,
he was like a Brennan's Venice elitist. You know what I'm saying?
Like you did like
puffy
you had like
shirts and suit coats.
Yeah, like lower
to the ring,
all that stuff like that. So you can kind of say it was kind of fact that WWE really ain't really have nothing.
What they in those 83 weeks, you sparked the fire behind them to get their shit together and put better stuff on TV. Because then when they started 97,
the Rise of Stone Cold is what started killing. Your 83 weeks.
Right. And then once they got it really started in 97 when those two were starting their come up. 97 was real. Like everybody talked about 98 Attitude Era. 97, the Attitude Era started in 97 for real.
Yeah.
Right? That whole year you had all type of stuff happen.
Yeah.
You had a Stone Cold King of the Ring. You had the very first Hell in a Cell with Shawn Michaels and Undertaker that October. Then the next month you had the screw job happen in November.
And then I think later that year you had that Survivor Series where I think The Rock made a debut there, and then you had like it was more of a crap.
The Survivor Series was actually the November before.
Oh, okay.
He debuted in '96 Survivor Series.
Okay, so basically like that 83 weeks was like it was more of a combination of like bad. I feel like the wrestling back then before the Attitude Era hit was so bad. I felt some of them Impact numbers back when they had AJ Styles probably could have beat some of that WWE back then. That's how bad that stuff was. Like you ain't really had like a legit star. Like it was Shawn Michaels, but you wore Shawn Michaels anyway. Scott Amore.
Yeah, let's get into that because then I'm going directly to his part. He speaks of how he can help somewhere else. But go ahead.
Right, so of course this news that he was fired by Anthem, the parent company. He got replaced with Anthony Sassoni. So apparently this came out of nowhere. Like I think I told you a lot of times were upset. Moose said he's gonna take some time off. We like off Twitter, Jordan and Grace. A lot of people were shocked by this. They said he was fired after Lynn Aspar and them reached a crossroad disagreeing on how TNA should be operated. Demore even approached Anthem of an offer to buy TNA. And they had a letter backed by a major banking institution. Anthem considered D'Amore's offer, but they initially rejected it. So he tried to buy, like what's name. He also knew around a week to 10 days that Anthem would be making the change, so he wasn't surprised that he was fired. They said they want to integrate TNA with the company's entertainment wing. The key personnel are still under contract, and D'Amore has been the only one that has been fired. Also, another thing, too, was the budget. He wanted to go off the budget to bring more wrestlers in. He wanted to spend more money. They was like, no. Shut that down real quick. So that basically was the grust of him basically being fired. He knew he was going to get fired.
To me, it sounds like Anthem's okay being the number 3. They're like, we're good with what y'all doing, bro. We don't want to go above that. And D'Amore was trying to get him to maybe do more, maybe reach an AEW level, I guess. And they was like, nah, we ain't gonna do all that.
I'm gonna say this, and this is gonna be real quick.
That's just how I see it.
I'm gonna let you
from
get
what you just said it, but go ahead.
More story. So, scroll through the TV. While I'm scrolling through, watching a little bit of Impact. Well, wasn't watching Impact. I was watching the Jordan Grace Trinity match. I think they're taking on Michelle Shaw and I don't remember who the other chick was. But they this how bad they, so apparently they had, I guess they was Jordan, wasn't it somebody named Khan or something? Do you remember the Ascension?
Yeah.
The dude named Khan, that's him from the Ascension. Like, then he got to a brawl with, I don't know, PCO, who that is. Dude looked like he out of shape as hell.
PCO is a legendary wrestler. He used to be in WWE back in the day.
Shaped like a
now, well, that's because he's like 50 something now.
And then they had this brawl, but this what got me.
I don't know. PCO is like, he's niche. So like, if you kind of got to know who he was and seeing some of his stuff to kind of be into him. If you haven't heard of him or watched the shit, you're just not gonna get it or be into it.
All I know is he came out with like, they had like these little shock things. They like resuscitating him. Or
yeah,
like
he's kind of like a Frankenstein type dude now. Yeah.
And they got to a brawl, but this the thing that got me. Yo, buddy, you need to spend some money because you got security pulling them apart. You got a female security guard in there, and I swear she took the PCO hopped over the top rope. She was part of that. I was like, y'all got this one security over here getting beat up, like dang, like she over here getting pushed aside in the. I think she got like thrown down by like Khan through the whole thing. I'm like, come on, man. I'm looking at his face. I'm just like, come on, man. Like y'all got this lady security guard here, like she was taking the brunt of all the punishment. I'm looking like, oh no, like that, no. Oh. Yeah, go ahead with your last story. Then I'll get to my final story.
All right, yeah. So his thoughts on Scott D'Amore getting fired, such as Anthem's statement in their release on their reason on why they were replacing him. Quote, blah, 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 corporate, blah, spleak. What a waste of time. Then he says on whether WWE would be interested in hiring him. I don't see it in WWE. I don't think Scott has played at that level. Scott D'Amore, for as long as he's been in the industry, has played a creative capacity at a very low level, a meaningful level. TNA, initially, yes, meaningful. Some good stories, some good creative. Scott D'Amore has never played Major League Ball. He's played in the minor league ball. That doesn't mean he's not capable.
He shit on Scott D'Amore trying to shit on AEW.
Let me finish. Does that mean he's not capable of playing Major League Ball? Absolutely not. But there's no perceived immediate high value there based on the track record of playing minor league ball, because none of these successes have been extraordinary in the minor league. We'll see. Excuse me. What I was trying to say was that I see a path for Scott in AEW much more easier than I see in WWE. WWE right now doesn't need creative horsepower. They need structure, and we'll talk about that, I'm sure. There's a lot of things that creative needs right now, which is all just about stability because of the recent changes, right? And it'll get there. But AEW definitely is somebody like Scott D'Amore. Their pre-existing relationship with Jeff Jarrett within AEW, that would be beneficial to Scott D'Amore. At least, I think so, maybe. They got to hear that, and I never heard that about. Maybe they got, maybe they got heat that I never heard about. I've always kind of heard good things about Scott from Jeff, and because the need is greater, Scott could have much more significant, no pun intended, impact in AEW than he would have been one of the 18 other actually more experienced writers.
You're throwing shade at him by throwing shade at AEW. Come on, minor league, like, you know what, man?
He's a sneak disser, bro.
Yeah, he throwing shade like he ain't thought nobody peeped that. Like we ready, like we peeped that. You crapping on Scott? No. I think actually the man can't be himself. He wants to go to WWE. Honestly, he was part of some of the Impact when Impact was around there. Fortunately, he also got Hulk Hogan during that little point at the time. But who wasn't Hulk Hogan? Hogan and over at that time? No. Final story. So.
That was my last, by the way. Well, go ahead.
Billy Jack Hayes has been arrested.
This is crazy.
William Albert Hayes, real name, was arrested Thursday morning after a near 2-hour standoff with police, including gunshots reportedly being fired from his home in the Lynch area of Portland, Oregon. Local authorities received report of a gunshot. It's in a report, so I can put the address out there. 6000 Southeast 100th Avenue around 9:52 a.m. on Thursday, February 8th. The report is that Hayes, 70, was not cooperating with authorities who responded to the scene, leading to a special tactical team and crisis negotiators to be brought into the home to handle the situation. His local neighborhood was ordered to shelter in place while everything was handled. After a 2-hour standoff and taken into custody, he was questioned overnight regarding the death of his wife, Jeanette Bearcraft, who's 85 years old.
How old is he, though?
70.
That's not that weird.
And would be considered a homicide
guess. Okay, go ahead,
investigation. Report that she died via homicide via gunshot wound. He said that I could confirm that the man we detailed remains in police custody this morning. That's by Sergeant Kevin Allen. He has not been booked into jail or charged with a crime, so we are not releasing his name at this time. I'm in communication with detectives and we'll update a news release as soon as there's a development. This was a neighbor, Breland Matthew, who said, after being the process severity of how close we were in nature, it's my dad and I live up here to take care of them. The guy, dad, lives in like the neighborhood that the incident happened in. He said, I was taking care of his wife who had ongoing dementia. I was pretty decently close with both of them and loved them very much. And we will keep you updated on that. So, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
What a way to end it, right?
Let's get into the shows for this week.
Yes. Run through these real quick. So we're going to start with Vengeance. NXT Vengeance. Go through these real quick. You know what the first match of this was? The Dusty Tag Team Classic. Trick Mello Gang. Versus Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin. Booker T was not there, so we didn't get no whoop that. We didn't get that. Wade Barrett tried.
I was about to say, I saw that part. He tried, though.
It ain't the same.
It ain't the same. It's funny, though. He did try, though.
Effort, he tried, though. He like from the UK, so it sounds so funny, but he tried, though. It's not the same. And it's okay.
It was like, whoop, that trick. He's like, yo, he tried.
I was rolling like hell no.
I was rolling.
I said something I'm going to get to the end. This match here, none but net get broken up and Breaker spears Hayes. Hayes took the spear for Williams. It took him probably setting him for the match later on the night. So Breaker and Corbin win the Dusty Cup and they get their claim of the tag team shots.
The Lone Wolves.
No, it named something like Barking Dogs or something.
I thought it was the Lone Wolves.
I think the Braun Breaker changed the name up. And yeah, something
Okay.
dog. He does a lot of barking. I don't. And next we get Roxanne Perez challenging for a title that she's never lost. Next we get Dijak versus Joe Gacy. No DQ match. Yes, I called him by the actual name this time. Because this match was fucking crazy. And it was awesome. Dijak just need to be in no DQ kind of type matches, bro. I feel like if he showcases the best. By the way, his contract is also coming up. What we're going to do with that one. That one.
Bro,
He's been in a developmental for over 7 years. I don't see anything good coming.
He was up there at Retribution.
Exactly. I was just about to say that shit. Took the words out my mouth.
All right, just some key parts of this. We get shot with a chair, table that get loaded up with toy cars and blocks. Only for Joe Gacy to get kicked in the face after doing all this, which means he took toy cars and blocks to the face. We get trash can. Gacy runs himself into the trash can, trying to take him out. So Gacy basically just beating himself up with stuff throughout the course of this match. This was the one creative part. Joe Gacy wrapped duct tape around Dijak's eyes, but get caught with a feature eyes anyway. So it's like he just had the president to know where you was at and do the move on you anyway. Then he hits it again for a pin at 11 minutes after taking the duct tape off his eyes. So next we get OTM versus D'Angelo family. The family retains their title here at 10 minutes. I mean, this match should have matched it. I felt this match was just thrown there to put the tag team titles online. This could have been a normal TV match. Ain't nothing really stick out for this match. Next we get Roxanne Perez versus La Valkyria for the title. Now, this match is going back and forth. Taylor Paxley tried to interfere. Guess who comes out with their contract? Your girl Lola Vice. She tried to take advantage of this.
Can I ask, when did she become my girl?
You the one that love Lola Vice so much.
I don't even talk about NXT. I just
You
said.
don't talk about NXT, but I hear you rap. You're like, oh yeah, Lola Vice. I hear you.
I seen her before. I'm like, okay, she bad. All
That's
right.
why I'm calling her your what?
That ain't my girl though.
That's why I'm calling her your girl, man. It's okay. She basically tried to cash in her breakout contract, try to come in. They just matched a triple threat. All for not. Valkyria still retains her title at 13 minutes. 13 minutes. This match was a weird good match. They did it more like so that both her and Perez will still look strong. That's why she basically took the pin in this. Then we get a brawl between them backstage. So that's not done yet. Over Fime versus Dragon Lee for the match. Fime retains his title here after a powerbomb at 11 minutes. Good match.
What title is that?
Oh,
He's the North American champ.
yeah.
Now they just bounced that belt around.
He beat Dragon Lee for it. This was the rematch.
Oh, okay, I got you. All right.
Yeah, and big dude, this dude here, I feel like he getting there. He's showing star potential already, but still need to what's name. I'm gonna ask you a question real quick about Lexus King is Brian Pillman Jr. And you're the AEW guy. Is it me, or do it feel like he just one of them guys that always naturally seem like to get lost? Like, it's like, how can I put this? It's like, the match quality ain't really like the best.
Lost in the shuffle.
Basically, like, I don't know if it's just him not like.
I feel like
enough,
he's a nepo baby. And I'm going to tell you why, because this is a new word in my lexicon recently. And if you don't know what nepo baby means, it means that you had a parent or a father or an uncle or something else that made a name in the business that you're currently in, and that's why you got your foot in the door for real.
Right.
He's a nepo baby. I got to be honest. Nothing from Brian Pillman Jr. stands out. And I'm not shitting on him when I say that.
Same thing in NXT. That's why I asked.
I think a lot of people see his father in him, but his father, I feel like, is shown more by this point than he has. He doesn't do anything to make himself stand out other than have that last name.
Yeah.
And I'm just being honest. This isn't like crapping on him or anything. He hasn't done enough, so that's how he ends up getting lost in the shuffle like that.
Yeah, no.
And he don't do nothing that stand out.
No, that's why I asked, because it's like I've been watching him on NXT. Like, he was in the storyline with the whole thing with Trick Williams getting ran down.
Do you see?
But then he had like the match. But then it's like
this is part of the reason why
okay charisma. But then his match quality is like okay, but it like ain't none that like.
It's part of the reason why I think AEW didn't resign him. I think they felt like this isn't a loss for them.
It's better than my opinion than Brian Pillman Jr. already, and he only.
And you know what's the difference? And you know what's the fucked up difference? Brian Pillman's probably been doing this for 5 to 7 years at least, and has a background in it from his family, and started in the industry like at a school training. Wasn't MLW, wasn't AEW. Now you're in WWE. The guy you're talking about, Obafemi, I bet you he was part of the WWE's NIL. This guy probably played college ball somewhere a couple years ago.
Alabama.
And now he's in WWE. So that showed you the difference between the two. This is exactly, he doesn't do anything to stand out. That's what he's going to have to change about his game. You know who he is to me? You know who he is? But this person went out there, struck the pavement, changed himself, and make himself a better wrestler. He's Juice Robinson when Juice Robinson was CJ Perry.
Yep.
Not CJ Perry, sorry. CJ whatever his name was in NXT.
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You know exactly what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
He's him then.
Put the work in.
He went at the New Japan and put the work in and it came back.
Okay, even gonna say he's probably Naomi. Juice Robinson, I'm talking about in terms of like,
yeah,
what's his name, but
made himself better.
Yeah, like I thought maybe
that's I said
he is conscious of the fact that his dad is Brian Pillman. His dad is like one of the great. I
don't think he thinks that, but I feel like he's survived in his industry as a dad.
He survived on.
He survives on that, but I don't feel like it's him pushing that narrative. I think he tries. He just don't stand out.
It's just like he don't. Yeah, it's just like he don't have that it factor.
He just don't.
Like, and again, that's not a knock on him, but I just,
it's not. That's why I clarified before I said it.
Because I seen it. I seen it on NXT, and I'm looking.
You asked me the question, and then as you asked me the question, I'm sitting there thinking, like, you know what? That's a good ass fucking question. And to be honest with you, no. And the fucked up part is, you seeing it. You're seeing what I mean.
I see it now. I'm like, dang, you put the thing in Lexus King. I'm like, it's like he's there. It's like he have okay matches. The promo there with Lex King is cool. You put him in the storyline with Hayes and Mello with the whole thing with him getting ran down, but then after that, it's like he just like their mid card. It's like the match is like okay. It's like he skates by. I don't want to say he skates by, 'cause I don't like saying that about him. But I hate saying when somebody had the fire that great of quality like Brian Pillman was, and the life was taken Ray Young. But I don't want to say like he skates by. I just feel like maybe he do survive with the fact that Brian Pillman is daddy, the Hall of Famer, his dad is one of the greatest of all time.
Maybe.
Nah, maybe, but like I don't know, bro. This shit ain't working at NXT, bro. And he's an AEW guy. He said the same thing. That's why I had to add. I'm like, man, I see what I'm talking about now. Like, it just don't seem like it's going somewhere. Like, I don't know. Next we get to our main event. This is Trick Williams versus Dragunov for your NXT Championship. This match was a great match. Crowd had Trick Williams the crowd was behind Trick the whole way through. Dragunov even played the heel role here. Torpedo, Dragunov retained that 18 minutes. When I say Dragunov won and the air left the building, it was like Cody Rhodes WrestleMania. Everybody was dejected, bro, when Trick Williams didn't win this match. Then the end of the show, Hayes come out there, said, it's all right, bro, we got this. Then give him the shot to the knee, grabs the chair, and this is what I love about Carmelo Hayes. So he hit you with the chair, and he's doing the chair like this. Like he's picking it up and swinging it like this. I'm like, he did it like 8 times. I'm like, bro, your arm's not tired, bro. Swing the chair on there. And then he puts the chair down, sits on the chair, and he just started talking shit to Trick Williams, basically. Saying like, man, it's supposed to be me and you, man. Like that. It kind of, and the fact that if you watched it, did you know the jacket that Hayes was wearing when he turned on him was similar to the jacket Shawn Michaels wore when he turned on Jannetty? Mm-hmm. So you kind of had to feel like if you knew that, you kind of like, yeah, he's about to turn on. It's only time.
You could tell Shawn Michaels booking this because he plays to it even more on NXT.
I'm about to get to it, yeah. So that was the end of what's the name? So that's the end of if I had to give it a grade, I'd give it a B.
All right, let's get into Collision from that same night. Pretty good Collision. AEW's been putting on some really good shows recently, if you can look at it with an eye of bias, Uncle Eric. Not my goddamn uncle. Anyway. This one had a low-key, I don't want to say match of the year because it was so early in the year, but damn it, this was a great fucking match. I can't wait to fucking tell you about this one. All right, so the show starts off with Eddie Kingston versus Brian Keith. Non-title proving ground match, meaning if Brian Keith wins, he'll get a future shot at the Continental Championship.
I've seen this match.
This is a pretty good match. Hard hitting right out the gate. They went strong style, hitting each other in the mouth right off the bat. Match came down to an enziguri that staggered Brian Keith. He gets pulled into a sleeper hold, then a DDT for 2. He gets pulled back up, spinning back fist. A Hurricane takes Keith out after it knocked him silly for the pin at 15 minutes and 17 seconds. Post-match, Tony Schiavone comes in the ring, makes an announcement that Brian Keith is all elite. So he's sharing his excitement about it. As he does that, Bryan Danielson music hits to interrupt the celebration so he can come out for his match, which is next. At the same time, though, he plays it off by raising Brian Keith's hand and getting the crowd to cheer for him more. Eddie Kingston's looking at him like why you shit on this moment, bro, at the same time. But when he passed him, though, like, Eddie Kingston was, like, leaving while they were still celebrating Brian Keith in the ring before Danielson's music hit. So Danielson's music hits and he's passing him. He's like, King of the Bums! He yells at him.
I need him to bring actual bums with him.
There's a shirt. I'm going to get it for both of us. I swear to God.
I need him to actually have bums.
I'm going to get us that shirt. All right, so next up, Moxley cuts a promo where he's not happy with the CMLL stars attacking him. After his match, Blackpool Combat Club was waiting on them. He even teased going down to Arena Mexico. So that should be interesting to see what happens there. Bryan Danielson versus Hechicero. I know you don't know who Hechicero is. I'm not expecting you to go do the research to find out more about this. But go watch this match. This cat was doing shit I never seen before. Now, as a person who's watched wrestling for almost over 30 years, it's safe to say over 30 years, he was doing stuff I've never seen before. And step for step with Bryan Danielson. And the crazier part to me, he looked like a little pudgier than Danielson, but like he was getting off moves with more dexterity than Danielson could. And Danielson won, but I felt like he almost won by the skin of his teeth, as opposed to like run away with his match, totally dominant over the other. This Cesaro cat was holding a candle in this ring the same level that Okada was holding the ring with Danielson. It was a great match. That's the best I can really heave praise upon this cat. Had a crazy ass entrance. He comes down with like a flaming rock. And then all of a sudden he lets the rock on the ground and none of his pyro shoots up with all this other fire. Oh. He says that's symbolism of him cleansing the walking area to the ring. I guess that's what that symbolizes or whatever. This is a great match. Danielson barely won with a cradle, but like it went 15 minutes. It felt like it was longer. I encourage you, please go watch this match. This is a great match. Danielson vs. Cesaro. Hopefully we see more of them later because it was awesome. Cesaro was just doing no type of shit and reversals out of moves I never even seen before. Like, damn, this cat is rough. FTR and Danielson and expect the team to work. They see themselves moving forward as a trio. They've been moved on the trio rankings. At the main event, they take on the Patriarchy. By the way, post-match of the Danielson match, Cesaro starts jumping Danielson, but Claudio Castagnoli clears him out the ring to make the save. Next up, Hook takes on the Outrunners. 2-minute squash match. He beat both of them, tapped one out with the red rum. 2 minutes, 36 seconds. Next up, Mark Briscoe's here for a chat. Puts over our boy Tony Schiavone. So somebody actually wasn't shitting on Tone. Talked about how he grew up watching Tone back in the day, and the crowd actually had a Tony Schiavone chant. So that was dope.
Oh, that's what's up.
He said... he basically talked about the match last week, how he came to help FTR. Got tossed at the beginning of the match through the table, but at the end of the episode was standing tall with them after they came out in victory. House of Black shuts the lights down, comes back out, tells them that they like magic and like making things disappear. Soon will make you disappear, basically what Malachi Black was talking about. Making talking about eradicating Briscoe from wrestling, so we'll see where that goes. Next up is more of a video on the Cope Open when we get there eventually. Next up, Serena Deeb versus Queen Naminata, who I'm gonna have to call her a jobber of the month. She puts up good fights though. She's not getting squashed. All her matches, even if she loses, she's on an average of 9-some minutes. Her victories that she had mostly on ROH have been an average of 3-some minutes. So when she wins, pretty dominant, and it's hard to put her away. But as far as facing the top of the top in AEW, it ain't going so well. Losing this one to Serenity locked to Serena Deeb. 10 minutes flat.
She has faith. Believe. Sky Blue did it, so can you.
You got beaten 10 minutes flat. Next up, Swerve Strickland.
And Sky Blue wasn't lasting 10 minutes when she was getting squashed.
Next up, Swerve Strickland with Prince Nana. They're here for a chat. Swerve said it's Black History Month. And with all that talk about the people who paved the way for him, like Ron Simmons, quoted our boy Ron, love that. Kofi Kingston and Athena. He said he'll soon find his name in the list of world champions, but Tony Schiavone asked him what about Hangman Page. Swerve said he can't beat him without the Mogul Embassy. Strickland doesn't buy it, says he's beaten Page twice, now he's going to do it again and become Black History. He's winning the world title at Revolution, but he tells Nana no interferences, there's no excuses. Tony Storm, Deonna Purrazzo. She's mad at Deonna Purrazzo and knows she still hasn't seen a Mariah May match. But she does want her next match is going to make it to a public workout. Her match with Red Velvet or Dynamite. And she also wants cranberry juice. Next up, ironically, is Red Velvet. So once again, back-to-back weeks, 2 women's matches on the show. She takes on Vert Vision as a squash match. She wins in 2 minutes. This is basically just to show off what she can do before she takes on Toni Storm on Dynamite. Okay. And then we get your main event. FTR and Daniel Garcia taking on the Patriarchy of Christian Cage, Kill Switch, and Nick Wayne. Pretty decent match. They gave it a lot of time with 23 minutes and 3 seconds. We'll get to the end. Then in the match, there's a big tag that brings Garcia in the clean house and everybody, and everything breaks down. Wheeler even hits a nice suicide dive to drop Kill Switch, leaving Garcia to hit a brainbuster for 2 on Nick Wayne. Back up, Wayne drops Garcia, but he's right back with a neck breaker for 2. Cage plants Hardwood on the floor. Everything breaks down again with Nick Wayne having be the one to save Cage from a sharpshooter. Garcia grabs Wayne for a roll-up for the pin. 23 minutes, 3 seconds. That was the end of Collision.
All right. Run to Raw. Real quick. It starts off with Seth Rollins. It starts off with Seth Rollins, and before he can talk, people start booing The Rock. We get Rocky Suck chants. Cole mentions that it's 1996 all over again. Again, Rose talk about how he wants to match with Rose. He needs to match because he needs to prove to himself that he's better than Rose. Drew McIntyre came out with this raw ass shirt, and the shirt was raw. So he comes out with a shirt He commissioned the shirt himself. It's him laughing at a tombstone for CM Punk because he's not going to Mania main event because he's not going to be at Mania. At Mania. He basically tried to pitch a match between him and Seth. He's like, look, we both don't like CM Punk. Why me and you go ahead and, talk about this title? He said, why? I beat you twice already. Like, you don't deserve another shot. Like, he's basically saying he wanted Cody. Like, I haven't beat Cody. I need to prove to myself I can beat Cody. Drew McIntyre don't like that. Don't like that. Cody comes down. Cody takes out McIntyre. They really ain't addressed the whole thing on the SmackDown with this segment. Next we get Imperium versus the Creed Brothers versus DIY versus New Day. Fatal 4-way match. Fatal 4-way tag match. 18 minutes. Them go out there, basically do a bunch of stuff. The winner of this match face Meet in the Middle hit Vinci at the 18-minute mark, so they will go on the SmackDown and face Bate and Dunn. The winner gets a shot at the tag team titles. They get a shot at Judgment Day, which the rumor they want to split them titles up and put one on Raw and put one on SmackDown. So they want to split them titles up.
Why don't they want to do that with their world title?
I don't know. That's whole. Next we get Shayna Baszler versus Becky Lynch. Last time, remember the first time these two fought, Becky Lynch was like pregnant, so you ain't really get a good match.
Right.
This match was better. Issue with this match, it went 12 minutes and 40 seconds. I love Triple H to death. This match should have went shorter. I don't like. You should have cut like 5 minutes. This match should have been like an 8-minute match tops. It was a good match though, back and forth. I mean, Becky gets the win here. Of course, Becky's going to get the win here. This elimination qualified chamber match. Winner of this match goes in the chamber. And the reason it should have been short because everybody knew that Shayna Baszler wasn't being Becky Lynch. Like, we knew that was going to happen. Lil Murray talked about her business next week. It's about her qualifying match is about revenge. Ripley, of course, one that took her out. Main event, I forgot we have a bull rope match between Shinsuke Nakamura and Cody Rhodes. Just show when Nakamura attacked Cody at a live event. Missed him again. Rhea Ripley comes to call out Nia Jax. This leads to a brawl between them. Poor Adam Pearce gets knocked out in the course of this. Kira Tozawa, Maxine Dupree versus Ivar and Valhalla. Guess how long this match was?
3 minutes.
2 minutes. Very ugly match that shouldn't have happened. Next, we get R-Truth talk about he being kicked out of Judgment Day. He said this was the pre-initiation. Asian to him giving like something in Judgment Day now. Finn Balor's like, I can't deal with you no more. Take care of this. Priest was like, don't destroy the clubhouse. He made him tell the truth like, don't destroy nothing. Just do what you want today.
So he got jumped out the group, but still think he in the group?
He think it was a this was the initiation. This is the pre-initiation of me getting what's the name.
So he got jumped in the group is what he's thinking?
He got jumped in the group, yeah. Like
like the Bloods and the Crips?
Yeah. Then we get JD Madonna versus The Miz. The end of this match was funny. R-Truth comes out and gives JD some of the money for the shirt, and JD looking like he takes the money, it gets smacked out of his hand. Skull Crush finale, Miz get the win. It's fun because they're yelling at him, and R-Truth just doing this with the money, like, get all the money back. All the money back. R-Truth is a treasure, bro. Gunter's celebration. Gunter said no one should be surprised why we are here for his celebration. He said every milestone is a formality anyway. So you want to know who's going to challenge him. Well, here comes Jey Uso. Lead to a back and forth. This leads to a fight between them. New Day come out to give Jey Uso back up. Next, we get the tag team title rematch. The Kabuki Warrior versus Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. We all know who won this match. Do we need to say more?
I'm assuming the Kabuki Warriors,
Yes.
unless they're trying to get over Chance and Carter right now.
Yes, the Kabuki Warriors won.
Okay.
Yeah. Bull rope match. You all know the rules to this. This is the same. It's fun because the bull rope that they used was the same one that Dusty and Dustin used in their matches over the years. Basically,
That's cap.
I like that they said that story. Yeah, fucking right. You mean to tell me a bull rope that got tugged through a fucking wrestling match after being on an actual bull in the 80s somehow survived as long as I've been around on Earth, and they're going to use it again in this match, and it's not just going to snap and disintegrate?
Yeah.
Fuck out of here.
The end of this match, Rose blocked the Kinshasa, and then after he misses, Rose like what's the name with the rope, hit him low, and what's the name, cross Rose gets the win. After the end of the match, McIntyre jumped Rose to end the show. So that was the end of Raw. And we're going to NXT. Oh, wait, hold on. That's why I need to stop deleting bookmarks. There you go. Got it. All right, so starts off the show with Carmelo Hayes carrying a chair. Sits down in the chair. He gets chants from the crowd. He basically says, not yet, then leave. Okay. Not gonna get the explanation yet. Baron Corbin and Braun Breaker come out here. They're called the Wolf Dogs. That's their name.
The Wolf Dogs.
Yeah.
I said the Lone Wolves.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's why Braun Breaker doing all
So we
that
were both
barking.
wrong. We both had half of it.
Yeah, right? So they out here talking about they're going to they want the tag team titles, but they both get interrupted by our first tag match, which is Nathan Frazier and Exxon versus either the North Bay and Malik Blake. Good back and forth match here. Blade gets hit with the Phoenix Splash, then a golden ratio for the win at 1640. So at the end, Corbin and Breaker jump Frazier and Exxon. D'Angelo comes out and issues the chop for the title next week. Dragunov said that he wants answers from Hayes about what happened. He said William would have been a worthy champion, but just not at the expense of me. He calls out Hayes, calls him a traitorous son of a bitch. Dijak comes out and said they both won that Judge Vengeance Day. Dragunov said, I don't want to hear it. He said, you broke Joe Gacy. This leads to a brawl between them. We get Thea Hell and JC Jane. They talk about the success of the Women of Chase U calendar. Von Wagner is mad because he lost to Noam Dar. Mr. Stone brings some kids in for, I don't know, I guess kids to talk to them. I don't get this whole thing with him. Lexis King versus Riley Osborne. Riley Osborne's storyline is that Thea Hell is in love with him. He faced Lexis King. Lexis King gets a win here. 4 minutes. 4 minutes. And then he was mad that she wasn't ringside for his match. Mad. Next we get Hayes, this time sitting in the chair again, and he finally speaks. He said, I'm the villain. I always be the villain when the heroes are telling a story. He said, I let Trick succeed. I wanted him to make his parents proud. He said, I always wanted him to know where he at. He said, we had an agreement. I get the Hayes to get the NXT title, Williams get the North American title. Then he said, Williams try to act like they're on the same level. So did he attack Williams' mom ago? He said, yeah, I did. Then they put up, they cue Williams' music. But Hayes like, no, he ain't here. He at the hospital with Booker T. He at the hospital with Booker T.
That was very Shawn Michaels.
He said Wynn was just a hype man. That's all he ever going to be. That's the explanation right there. He walks out. Lola Vice versus Roxanne Perez. This match here, and Tatum Pasley comes out with a distraction on Lola Vice. Just lead her to walk into a pop rock for the win at 9 minutes and 30 seconds. I feel like Lola Vice, she was like a former MMA fighter. They mentioned that during the what's her name. I feel like her offense should be MMA based, you know? Like, that should be her.
Or like Sonya Deville.
Basically, you know, and I'm trying to say you like something, but you know, like, that should be her base as for an MMA fighter. Next we get Fallon Henley versus Fallon Henley and Ren St. Clair versus Metaphor. Or Noam Dar or Mensah here too, which consists of Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson. This match starts off with a slap by Lash Legend. St. Clair comes in for a crossbody. The end of this match basically goes to where Henley comes back into the ring. Lash helped Jackson pull her to the ropes. She hit the second rope via her neck hit the ropes. Hit the rope. They come back with a power bomb at 5 minutes. Lash Legend's getting better A little bit her moves, I feel like it's a little tighter. Jackson, she's still like kind of new, so I think the tag team still got to get some work going. But it wasn't a match though. Lash Legend looked better though. Next we get Josh Briggs and Brooks Jensen. They have a reunion. Jensen said that he needs his friends. Briggs tells him like, grow up and be a man. For somebody else take your spot. Stop wanting like a little bitch. You see what I'm doing. You see what Fallon's doing. Like, be a man on your own, basically. Next we get the main event, which is Dragunov versus Dijak. Of course, they had a match a couple months ago, which was a match of the year quality match. The end of this match comes Joe Gacy hit Dijak with something. Dragunov used a distraction, but Dragunov didn't see Gacy hit him with the what's the name H-bomb for the pin. So this feud between Gacy and Dijak is still going to go on. At the end of the match, he takes out Dragunov, hold that NXT title up. So y'all know where Trick's coming after what's the name next. Mello. Well, coming back for that NXT title. The payoff is probably going to be something with him and Trick in the long run. And that was the end of NXT.
All right, let's get into Dynamite. So this is not a Tony Schiavone show because this is more of a Taz show, and he have a billion moments. He had little ones that stuck out, two in particular for me. There was actually a third that I is slipping my mind right now. I can't remember exactly what he said, but it came during the Tony Storm match because Donna Purrazzo was on commentary, and they were warning her not to get on like Taz's bad side because he has a temper. She said, no, me and Taz are cool. We're from the same neck of the woods. He said, yeah. He said, I've known him for years, longer than both of y'all for real. And then he had said something else off of that. I forgot exactly what he had said. But one of the things he had said during the match that was funny as shit, and he was like, somebody over here in the middle seems to act like me and Tony haven't been in this business for way longer than he's ever been. Like we need him. And then Excalibur was like, he's like, okay, but then who will carry y'all every week? And that made him mad. But the best comes up in a second, so I'll get to that in a second. So let's get into the show. Starts off with what probably could have been the main event, but if it ain't gonna be the main event, open the show with it was fucking awesome. Hangman Page versus Swerve Strickland, part 3. Worst of the 3, but not bad at all. At all. The only reason I almost felt like it was the worst of the 3 is because it was on TV. The other two got to be a pay-per-view, so they could be as raunchy as they wanted to be. Drinking blood, spitting it out, and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? Couldn't do that much, couldn't go that hard on TV, but I feel like they went as hard as they could in a straightforward match this time, and it was awesome. We were going to say I was cutting you off, my bad.
No. I was saying I seen that match. And the one spot in that match, when he hit that DDT on the what's the name, I'm like, that right there, I'm like, that you got to do everything to a T on that one.
Listen, I think Hangman has a losing record against tables a little bit too.
I hate the fact that Hangman got that goddamn beard, man. What's up with y'all in the elite with these beards? We all heel. Like,
he's far heel with this. So, like, he's had times that he was on the announce table, it didn't break. This time, he got set on a regular table and it just broke by itself. Nobody touched him. He literally laid on it, and then he got knocked into it, and and it just collapsed. Yeah. So I was like, okay. There was a buckshot by Swerve, and not by Hangman through a table. That helped. There was a spot in the match where since Swerve told Prince, nah, like you can come to ringside, but you can't interfere. So there was a spot where Swerve got knocked to the ground, and in order to beat the 10 count, Prince Nana danced around him to get him to come back to life. It was hilarious. He danced around him to get him to come back to life, so he broke the 10 count. He got in. Then there was another spot where that was about to happen again. Hangman was like, fuck this. He grabbed a chair like he was going to hit Swerve, spun around and smacked Nana with it in the back. Like, get your bitch ass out of here. The way he did it was so funny.
Yeah, man.
It was a great match.
It was a great match. I seen that match.
I
actually came back from work, and I walked in to that match being on.
So this match came down to the end. Now, he messed his ankle up earlier, which also had a great spot where you had an ankle lock by Hangman on Swerve, which is something he don't even do, but he played in the heel so much. I feel like you had a turn in this match. Like, Hangman went heel, Swerve was full face, and that line was blurred prior to.
And I feel like you fully turned it here. And I'm going to get into why in a second. Swerve Stomp connects on the inside. Like I said, he hurt his ankle earlier, so he couldn't make the pin. That allowed Page to kick him in the same said ankle. They head out to the apron. Swerve hits a deadeye through the table at ringside. Swerve Stomp misses on the inside, but then he hits a JML driver for 2. And literally, it was 1, 2, and that's the match. You only get 30 minutes.
I'm saying it.
I was like, oh. So here was the best part, and this is where I feel like Hangman's turn was complete.
Oh, at the end when
he was like, they threw him on mic, and he's like, you know how this goes, Hangman. 5 more minutes. Hangman got a mic and said,
you ain't beat me.
No,
You ain't
no,
beat me.
damn it. He said, they said for you to get the number 1 contendership, you had to beat me in the match. You ain't do it. So no more 5 minutes for you.
Yeah,
You had your chance,
that
and then he
was
just
funny.
walks off. And then, excuse me, Giovanni comes in like, whoa, hold on. Tony Khan just told me in my ear, since we did not get a definitive answer here, we now have 2 number 1 contenders for the title match at Revolution. Is now a 3-way. Swerve Strickland, Hangman Page, and Samoa Joe.
Yeah, that was a great match.
Great match, great ending.
That's how I need to
I
walk
love
in
the
from
double
work when
turn.
I come back from Dynamite. I need to walk in a Dynamite. Because sometimes I come back from work, I don't walk into a good Dynamite match. I walked into that one.
That was a double.
That was a good match. Like,
So we got the double turn there. That was Joe. Joe was pissed. He wasn't pleased at it. He called it a celebration of mediocrity. But he said either way, he's going to
Classic.
deal with it and walk out with his belt.
Classic.
All right, next up, Tony Storm and Red Velvet with Donna Purrazzo on commentary. This is a great match for Tony Storm because it was, this is a great match for Tony Storm.
I'm going to wait because you said this the part he's talking about with Tony Storm. What Tony Storm moment we got?
So she put on a regular technical match.
No, the other key.
Oh, there was no Gaga involved. She basically put on a technical show because Donna Purrazzo was that commentary.
The technical artist. So
Yeah, she did it on purpose
Yeah.
to show that I can do that too. I don't have to just, you know what I'm saying, do what I do. I can be as technical as you. Which she did for the most part, working over Red Velvet. Red Velvet was striking away and sent her in the corner, but she didn't really do anything that really stood out for her. Tony Storm controlled it pretty much, and on a very technical angle. It was a straight up match for her for the most part. Won it with the ankle lock.
I think a lot of people forget though. She was a technical wrestler though. Like when what's her name? Like that was her thing though. Like
Won the match with an ankle lock while staring down Deonna Purrazzo the whole time. Post match, she ran them off, but at the same time, more storyline progression there. So that was cool. Orange Cassidy best friends are ready for Tomohiro Ishii. That will be the challenger for the international title at the main event of Collision.
One that beat you up and drink your beer.
Yeah. For now, they need to check out Chuck Taylor as he's being checked out. This was a real crotchety moment they had with their hand-in moment with Renee. It was weird. But anyway, moving on to the next thing. Now, this is our last Taz moment coming up at the end of this match I was talking about. Mascara Dorada, Hechicero, and Volador Jr. of CMLL taking on the Blackpool Combat Club of Danielson, Claudio Castagnoli, and Moxley. This is a pretty good match. Went about 14 minutes, 30 seconds. Personally, I would have liked to see the CMLL guys go over to make this a little more even, to make this feud feel like it's not so one-sided as it has been, at least on AEW television. If the luchadors go over, it's not on a member of the Blackpool Combat Club, it's on another member, or as a jobber division that I will call the AEW. Your Matt Seidels, your Christopher Daniels, who are great guys and Hall of Famers, but right now they're considered jobber status, at least with this company. So I would like to see the CMLL guys go over to make this stand out a little more, which they didn't in this one. But it wasn't easy, once again, which is being shown in all these matches, for the Blackpool Combat Club to defeat the CMLL guys, to the point that the Blackpool Combat Club had to cheat to come out in victory in this one. Let's get to the end of it to get what we're talking about. Hechicero grabs a hammerlock swing on Danielson and Dorado. Hits a 450, he gets a 2 count. The club is back in the clean house until Hechicero hits a reverse hurricanrana driver for 2, where it almost looks like, oh man, it's like a hurricanrana that all of a sudden just drops out of nowhere straight to the mat like a leg lock or something. Like it's just crazy. You got to see it. A leg lock around the neck at that. That gets two count of Castagnoli. While the ref wasn't looking, though, he hits a low blow on Hechicero to end up getting the victory. So they're doing what they got to do to get it done. Like in the last match that Dan had with Hechicero, he had to get a roll up to get out of it to get the victory also. Now, yes, I know we're saying they still won the match, but it's the means that they had to take in order to get to the end. They couldn't just stand with them toe-to-toe in the ring in order to get the victory. That wasn't working. Post-match, some of the CMLL guys ran in and go after the club. When once again the Gyro division of AEW comes in and makes the save. So we'll see where this goes later. I'll get to the task part once Clino comes back in here. Undisputed Kingdom had been attacked. They were the ones who were attacked. Chuck Taylor backstage. Next up, Tony Khan has a big announcement. AEW is returning to Boston on March 13th, which they spelled Boston wrong with two S's for some reason. Here nor there. And this AEW show is going to be called AEW Big Business. It's going to be an important night. Tickets are on sale this Saturday. It was, in fact, an announcement that I believe they're basically hinting at the signing of Mercedes Moné, formerly Sasha Banks of WWE. I believe that's what she'll be making her debut for the company, finally. So we'll see that. Next up, Chris Jericho versus Konosuke Kateska. This match highlights a trend that's been happening for Jericho recently, where he's just been putting on middling mid matches recently. And I know he's been coming out in victory, which isn't the reason why I'm saying they're mid matches. He's basically being used as the guy that gets over other talent. It's just that the act he's doing kind of been old recently. And for a guy who's been the king of reinvention in wrestling, I think it's time he has another reinventive moment in order to get himself over again. Because right now, it's just not working. And it's almost like a vortex of who he involves with him also are brought down to his level. Like Sammy Guevara hasn't been hot since he's come back to the company. And for me, it seems to be like also along the lines of the fact that he teamed back up with Jericho. Before he had left the company, they had broke up and he was beefing with Jericho. So just one small example. The JAS is another one you could add in there over the recent months and years that kind of been brought down a little bit. And I don't know if it's necessarily the association with Jericho, but there's a common denominator here is what I'm trying to say. So anyway, in this match, he ends up losing it to Kateska, getting Kateska over. There it goes, Clino. I was saying this while you had walked out, and I don't know if you noticed this recently, but I feel like for the last year or so, or maybe more, Chris Jericho and everything in his radius has kind of been middling, like circling the drain. And as the king of reinvention in the history of wrestling, I think it's a time for a reinventive moment for himself, especially with the recent bad news that came out with that story with Kylie Ray and her involvement in AEW and him and stuff, and why she's not there anymore and stuff like that. Not that that has anything to do with what I'm talking about now, but I just feel like, for example, Sammy Guevara doesn't feel as important anymore. The JAS, for example, and I'm not saying he's the reason, but there's a common denominator in these things. His matches he's had recently just getting cats over. Not that they've been sloppy, it's just they've just been mid. They haven't, nothing's really stood out about none of that stuff to me, unless there's a gimmick to it. Like the one match they had where I always laugh at Paul White getting slammed on top of that car hood by Powerhouse Hobbs. Yeah. That Sega Like a Dragon match, there was a stip to the match that made it dope, that Like a Dragon part. But him just being involved, his just regular matches seemingly over the last year have just been very mid. This was another mid match with Konosuke Kateska, where he got Kateska over. Kateska took him out with his own move, the Lion Tamer, at that. The old WCW on your neck one. You know what I'm saying? It started as just the walls, then he took him into the Lion Tamer. So I was like, okay, cool. But it was just kind of a whack match. There was a spot in the match that really solidified everything I was just talking about his recent year in the company. He puts on Konosuke Kateska's, like, his kabuki mask or whatever he wears to the ring and dies off the rope. But you can tell he doesn't know where the fuck he's looking at out of the mask because he damn near misses him completely when he dies off the top rope. Oh. Like, Kateska kind of had to move into place to catch him in order to make the movie even fucking work.
Oh, man.
So shit like that makes me say these words about Jericho. Something needs to change there. Anyway, as I said, Kateska took him out with the walls. Made Jericho tap 13 minutes and 50 seconds. Then we get your main event. By the way, what I was saying, the Taz moment of the week. In the Luchador match against Blackpool Combat Club, it was a 3-on-3 match. The main thing of this feud has been that the Luchador dudes, after they lose a match, they come in the ring pissed off that something happened in the match, and then jump some AEW members, which makes the Jobber division of AEW run out and try to make the save. That's been happening a lot. So during this match, it was threatened a couple different times that it was going to happen. So it was like, oh, fellas, watch out. So they don't want to come near the announce table. He said, AEW looking out for AEW here. Talking about the jobber division coming out or whatever to stand up for him. Taz is like, bump all that. Let him come near Taz. Taz is looking out for Team Taz.
Put everybody in Taz missions.
The way he said it was hilarious. No, hell no. Then we get your main event. Excuse me. Which is Big Bill, Ricky Starks taking on Sting and Darby Allin for the tag title. Sting's sons were at ringside for this one. They look just like him, I'm assuming, without the face paint. Tall guy, slick back black hair, buff. This is Tornado rules, Texas Tornado rules, so no tags. Everybody's fighting all over, and it started literally from the beginning of the match. They were all fighting each other. There was one favorite spot of the match was a giant swinging boss man slam. Darby Allin went for a tope out the ring, got caught midair by Big Bill, spun around 4-3-60 before he slammed him on the apron, I believe. It was dope. It was pretty dope. Sting dove from off of, remember the Kevin Owens dive? From, that tag match? The tag match he had when they won the tag belts with him and Sami Zayn. It was in Pittsburgh where they had the hockey jerseys on. Oh. And he dove off.
Dove and almost missed the whole dive.
Sting did that same.
His head up.
Sting did that same dive. Sting did that same dive during this match. It was pretty cool. Eventually, we get down to the end of the match. The spear by Starks gets two, but he can't believe Sting kicks out. Back up, Scorpion Death Rock gets the pin and the title. Sting makes the pin, 13 minutes, 16 seconds. We have new tag team champions. Confetti's falling down. They get the titles. They're all happy. Sting's first title in AEW. Whole month before he's about to retire. Out of nowhere, here comes your favorite douches, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, dressing all white with white baseball bats and proceed to beat the shit out of Darby Allin and Sting. They take Sting out by the knee. They split Darby Allin open. It is no longer the BTE trigger. It is now the EVP trigger, which they did on his forehead to make sure his blood was left all over their white suits, all over their knees, and all over their bats. That was the end of Dynamite. The end of the show being douches. This continues on Rampage. We'll get into it in a second.
Okay, so start off with Triple H come out here. Quick backstory discussing to the WrestleMania 40 press conference. Starts off, you have Seth go
Did we talk about the press conference?
No, I'm about to do announcements.
Okay, cool.
So, Seth Rollins comes out here first. Roman Reigns comes out after. It says it's the B title. It's called Seth Rollins title, the loser's title, because everybody that you beat ain't beat me. Beat me. Then this leads to The Rock coming out. Rock basically calls Cody fans. He calls them Cody crybabies. Then he puts a video up there, like a montage of the family tree, and he talks about how, like, everybody on the family tree, how they family like the greatest ever. And then he said, we're going to do this with blood. And they like shake hands. Cody comes out and says, bullshit. He's like, hold on. He's like, no. He's like, I won the main event. He's like, you don't dictate who get to face who at WrestleMania. He's like, I won the main event spot when I won the Royal Rumble. And then he goes and say, you know what? He said, I choose you, Roman Reigns. I'm like, no, you can't choose me. You already made your choice. This is already done. He's like, no. And then he goes on and said, like, if your father, then he pointed to Rock like, hey, your great father, the high chief, will look down right now, they'll be pretty damn disappointed in both of y'all. He was like, you can't talk about cooking anything. He said, you can't call yourself the head tail. Like, you ain't cooked shit in 2 years. You can't cook that. This point, Rock is pissed off. He said, when you talk about my family, you talk about his family, you talk about my family. When you talk about his blood, you talk about my blood. Then proceeds to slap the shit out of Cody Rhodes.
Taste out his mouth. Joe Budden is making, who has nothing to do with wrestling, is making comments about it on his podcast. So that's hilarious.
He smacked the shit out of Cody Rhodes. And then they going back and forth. He said, talk about my family again. The part that stuck out, Seth Rollins was like, man, you can't do that because you're on the board. You can't do that because you think you're on the board. On the board. Then get to the end, Triple H basically saying like, well, that just went as the emblem. He said, what you gonna do about this? The Rock walking with Roman said, what you gonna do about this? You gonna sit here and let him talk about my family like that? He said, you better fix it or I will. So, And what's the name? Then it goes to Star SmackDown. Triple H is in the ring with Austin and Adam Pearce. He says that like there are people who don't know their role but try to assert their authority when they don't have any. Don't share that to Rock. Said I don't care where you sit.
But wait, hold on, stop, pause. I have to question that statement because technically he's your boss now.
Yeah, I know.
So that's what I'm like.
Oh, but now so CM Punk had the best reaction to the whole thing. CM Punk was like, "This is the problem with Cody Rhodes. He's too nice. Like me, I would've been slapping shit out of every goddamn body. I don't care if you're my boss. I'm my boss. I'm slapping everybody. He like, they want to fight. Let them fight. And I'm looking like, no, no, Cody, no. He said he don't care because one thing's abundantly clear. The place comes one.
No, Punk, no. Making comments like that. Like, you just sit back and shut the fuck up.
He said he don't care where he sit. There's one thing that's clear. The answers come one place and one place only, and you're looking at them. So, basically, what's the name? And like, then he said the main event will be Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes. And he said some people don't like that. It doesn't matter what you think. So, he basically taking shots at The Rock during the whole promo.
So, all right, so let's get into something real quick. We're already going to be over the time a little bit. It's cool. I've already kind of plotted for the next one. So, you basically threw a swerve to throw a swerve just to shake up your fan base to go back to what your original plans were to begin
because,
with.
I think because a lot of the people in the higher, they were all shocked at the backlash that The Rock got.
Because you did this out of nowhere, just like you've done in the past. Well, you think it wasn't going to piss people off? Number one. Number two,
they think they won't get that much of a backlash because it's The Rock.
I feel like they're trying to go back. You've been trying to do this shit for 3 or 4 years. The Rock schedule has always been a problem. You tried to do it last year. You couldn't do it last year. You won it in L.A. Couldn't get it done. Black Adam, all the other shit, blah, 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 blah. Now, fast forward, we're here, and now you're just wedging it in there almost just to get a reaction because now what I hear the plan is going to be a tag match night one with Cody and Seth versus Bloodline Rock and Bloodline Roman. And then the next night is the main event of Cody finishing the story.
Oh, I ain't heard nothing about tag match.
Oh, I've heard. Not only have I heard that, I heard Triple H knew all of this shit before they even booked the Rumble finish. He knew that Rock was going to come in and insert himself. He knew that already.
Yeah, they probably did. Yeah, they had that.
So why did they have the Rumble finish the way they finished? Just to goat the fans on. This was all premeditated. This isn't like, which we already knew, but they could have found a way to make it feel more organic to me. That's all. I like that it's hot and everything that's going on with it, and it makes it dope, but you threw a swerve for the sake of throwing a swerve, and I almost feel like, for me, it isn't working because now you're not going with it. You could have teased more of it being like a three-way in that main event and not just Cody versus Roman, which it's faded to complete because we already wanted that. That's already what's going to happen before. You just threw something out to kind of confuse people, which didn't work. You went right back to that because you saw the backlash you got of it. Instead of having cojones try to go through with it and then book your way out of the situation. I don't feel like they booked their way out of the situation. I feel like they let the fans dictate the change. And then be like, hey, hold on. We never said that was going to happen. He just came out and said that was going to happen. This is what's really going to happen. And then double back. It makes it seem like they were on your side the whole time when they weren't.
I don't know how they go. It's a whole bunch of stuff that they saying they can go do. People saying that they still could do something to where you can still make it a triple threat because Roman could feel threatened that The Rock is trying to take control of the what's the name. He gonna try to. A lot of people saying that The Rock can probably be destroying the bloodline from the inside. From the inside. I mean, remember they harping on that one fact that Cody was like, you see, I'm gonna take everything from you, and I start with bringing in probably. What's name? I don't know how they gonna do it. I heard triple threat match. I heard possibly that like they're gonna do something to where they might have him versus Rock night 1, and then he goes against Cody night 2. I don't know how they're gonna do it, but one thing I will give them credit for, and I get it that like you do a swerve because the fans didn't like it, but at least you rectified it, I guess, a little bit. You listen to the fans, but I don't know how you still got elimination chamber in between there. I don't know how they're gonna do this, but the fact that after the press con they kept mentioning that The Rock is the EVP of the boards, he gonna use his power. I think gonna book a part of where he's gonna get. They kept mentioning how like Nick Khan and him is that's cool and all this. he's going to inject himself some kind of way to what's Cody ain't going to have an easy road to WrestleMania. This going to be like one of them old WWE games.
I'd rather had it happen like this. Why not have Rock come in and challenge him for the spot? And Rock make his case instead of them just inserting like, well, now you're going to step aside and I'm taking this. Like, no. How about you come in and you make your case where I need to take charge of this family. I don't like the direction it's going, blah, blah, blah. It's my bloodline, blah, blah, blah. And then whatever these reasons are, and we already know Cody's reasons to finish in the story, they come together where y'all have to have a fight for the number one contendership at Elimination Chamber.
Because Rock want Mania. He wants Mania. He strictly want Mania. He don't want...
So then this is part-time, right? So he's just coming for that Mania match and he's out.
For the Mania match and he's probably going to what's the name. That's one.
Okay.
Like he was on he was pushing to win the title from Roman. Like they say he was on the pushing to put the title on him. So I think it's just strictly Mania for the Rock. It ain't gonna be no like Elimination Chamber. I don't know how they're gonna do it. They said the long payoff is that Cody down the road will probably unify the titles at some point. That's how you would probably get Roman. I don't know. We still got like 2 months until Mania come. We're gonna see how all this pans out. Anyway, Seth Rollins' championship will be determined in Elimination Chamber qualifying matches. The participant in these matches are, you probably already know who's probably going to win. No particular order. Randy Orton, Bronson Reed, Kevin Owens, Logan Paul, AJ Styles, Miz. You know he's not going to win. Bobby Lashley, Ivar, he's also not going to win. Drew McIntyre, Sami Zayn, Dominic Mysterio. I don't want to say he's not going to win, but hell, I don't know. Well, and LA Knight, now we get to LA Knight in the right situation. First match starts off, Drew McIntyre versus AJ Styles. Styles. Okay, so and to get to the end, McIntyre cuts off phenomenal forearm. Styles gets into it with LA Knight. McIntyre shoves Styles into Knight. Knight's pissed off about that, gets on the apron to go after Styles. And that basically, he decks LA Knight, but then he walks into a Claymore. So, Drew McIntyre is your first what's today. Sami Zayn is facing Randy Orton in a qualifying match. So, next, we get your boys. We get Pretty Deadly.
Yeah, boy.
Man, some promo they was on. They was on like some boat last week. Dressed in some, I don't know what it's called, like one of them boats that like got the umbrella, like, but it was like in the middle of the ocean or something. I don't know what it's called. They were dressed all debonair, calling Pete Dunne Pete Dunne. Like, I like the way they call him name. They call him Pete Dunne. Like, Pete Dunne, what's his name? And then Kent Wilson shows out his hand like this. He's like, oh my God, your hand, you know, snapped all his fingers. And they basically said, like, they're going to get revenge on them. They're going to start their way back to the climb on the top of the division. Next, we get Bayley leaving Damage Control. Next, we get Bianca Belair versus Mi Chen. This is a elimination qualifying match. This will be the second person. Yes.
When did they decide that Mi Chen is the women's jobber?
I know, man.
I just wanted to know.
I know.
Because you've been giving me this same story with a different opponent for weeks. I just thought I'd bring it up.
She's like Queen what today?
Queen Amanada? She's better than Queen Amanada.
No, I'm talking about terms of her matches. She don't get squashed.
Well, they don't look like her. She's better than Queen Amanada.
She don't win. She don't win.
Oh, yeah. She has Retribution stink all over her. I forgot. If you notice, those who Retribution stink do not get their come up in the end. Her, Dijak, fucking Slapjack left the fucking company. He's doing great in New Japan. Ali, he ain't there no more.
They got
Mansois left, became a fucking model. Marseille, sorry. Yeah, I don't want to put that stink on Mansois. Sorry. Marseille, he went and became a male model. That stink is real, bro.
Oh man. Okay, it starts off with Belair using her power, of course. Mi Chen kissed her in the face. Then she missed a cannonball. Handspring moonsault is countered with knee. Spine buster by Belair. Gives Belair a 2, but Mi Chen catch her on the top rope. Each defeat connect, but it sends Belair to the outside. She goes for a style clash. It takes too long. Then Belair hits with the KOD for the win. At the end of the match, if it helps, she said that she's tired of being a stepping stone. She's about to go and make her own way. So she cut a passionate promo. So I don't know if that's going to lead to anything, but we'll see. Probably not.
She don't get that Zelina Vega. She don't get that heartwarming push to go lose a match against a champ, and then they gonna forget about her ass.
Braun Breaker comes in to see Triple H, and he ain't sure if he should sign Raw or SmackDown. Before anything, Paul Heyman comes to interrupt. Breaker leave and said that that's a heck of a talent from a wacky family. Talking about them damn Steiners. Wacky family. You're fat. That's one thing I just love about Scott Steiner, bro. He asked Triple H, he said, so what's next? And then he basically said he'll be back next week with Roman and The Rock. Triple H said, okay, looking forward to it. So, like, Bayley is here. She's relieved that the fans are happy to see her. She's talking about how damage control meant to her. She said she put everything in the damage control. They kept mocking her behind her back. They hurt her. What's up? Dakota Kai interrupt. And Kai said she didn't know anything about what the rest of the team was doing to Bayley. Bayley don't buy it. She said, no, you was always there with the rest of them. Kai like, I believe in the team. She said, I missed the original trio. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. She said your plan was working and everything was going well, but then everything fell apart. She asked her where she stand. Io Sky and Kabuki words come out, and then Kai leaves. So they come, about to jump Bayley. Kai comes back in with a chair, and she swings it at the Kabuki Warriors and Sky. And then, so she basically, like, lining herself with Bayley. I think she's going to turn on Bayley. Bayley. Randy Orton talked about how he's on the shelf for a year and learn how to be patient. He said inside the chamber, the only consistent is the RKO. So, yeah. We get Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate versus DIY.
Peter Dune.
Dunay. I'm start calling him Dunay now. No. Great match between these two. Dunn hits the bitter end on Gargano as Bate is holding Ciampa from getting back on the inside. End of the match. Basically, he shows his respect. They show respect to each other, fist pound, everything like that. So now you get Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate versus Judgment Day for the titles. Dom Mysterio said he's going to win an Elimination Chamber. Rhea Ripley said, and he said that Mommy's going to win, and then they'll have matching titles. He like, I don't care who I face. And then guess who he's facing?
Oh.
He's facing Kevin Owens, who just sits there like, oh, okay, you don't care who you face, huh? Okay. Yeah. By the way, I think he's still doing all the foot for fractured fucking foot. I don't know. Anyway, and then he said, oh, he like, when I beat you next week, he's like, I'm going to dedicate this to the greatest luchador of all time. Rey Mysterio, I think you know him. Tom gets salty. Yeah, here comes R-Truth. Who think Kevin Owens is the Miz for some weird reason. And he said, don't let Nick catch you. Owens like, Nick Mysterio? He's like, no. Nick Aldis. So the one time, R-Truth, KO thinking R-Truth tried to be stupid. R-Truth actually was smart this time. Logan Paul comes in and said that he has no idea why he's in an elimination qualifying match. He said those matches are for unqualified people. He said next week he got to fight in Utah. He basically throws shade at Utah. He said he's going to leave as double champion. His qualifying match is...
You know, it's funny. It's funny you say that because somebody in the NBA did that recently, and I can't remember who it was, but it was the best comeback ever. So, or one of. I know I hate recency bias, but I said it about Lions, and people say it's hilarious. So, they were playing a game in Utah, and the guy was like, boo, you suck, boo, boo. NBA dude looked at him dead in his face, was like, bro, you live in Utah. And then it went back to the game. I was dying. I said, hell no.
Damn.
That fucked up. Shut up. I gotta find out who it was. That was hilarious.
Utah.
He's like, bro, you live in Utah.
Oh,
like,
man.
Come on.
What do you do in Utah? Like, that's messed up.
Then he said I was dying.
He said he'll do it because he's going to leave as double champion. Next, we get our main event, which is Randy Orton versus Sami Zayn. Zayn starts off this match fast. He keeps going to the outside, but he only flips back in when Orton moves. Orton starts hammering away. Zayn drops him on the announce table. Then Orton hits a superplex. That patented power slam. Randy Orton still, I say this every time I mention a Randy Orton power slam, bro. He got the best in the game, bro. It's just so smooth, bro. he just do it so what's the name, man? Like, he goes for the Hagen DDT, but he gets cut off. Zayn hits the suicide dive. Then Orton drops Zayn on the announce table. You know how way Randy Orton dropped you on the announce table. Super painful, but super safe, because he always super safe. He's the only person I would not have a problem with dropping on the announce table, because Randy Orton's gonna make it so safe, bro. So you know what's the name? Second hanging DDT connects. Zayn gets out there for a Blue Thunder Bomb for 2, but Orton hits him with an RKO for the pin at 11 minutes. Great match between these two. Orton was the choice here to go over. He's still the biggest star right now. Post-match, McIntyre comes out and has a stare down with Orton in the show. Those are your first 2 competitors for the Men Elimination Chamber. Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch are the first 2 women so far. Next week, this coming Raw, you get Liv Morgan versus Zoe Stark. That'll be another one. I don't know who is on the SmackDown women's side yet, but that is the end of SmackDown.
All right, well, let's get into Rampage and get through this one pretty quick. Only about 3 matches. Actually, it was 4 most of squash. I'll start off with Orange Cassidy, Rocky Romero, and Trent Beretta versus the Undisputed Kingdom, which is just, excuse me, the ROH Tag Champs and Roderick Strong. So, basically, this match, it's gotta happen. It's a bunch of cheating and shit like that. Come down to the end, they come back from a break as a low blow, cutting Cassidy down. Hail Mary getting a 2 count. The power bomb zigzag combination hits Trent, but he rolls out outside before a cover can happen. Instead, the Kingdom goes after Rocky Romero, who's right back in for a big dive. After he gets back into the ring, they hit the Forever Clotheslines. Strong cuts him off with the end of Heartache for the pin. After the match, they jump Rocky Romero and do another end of Heartache through 2 chairs that were like facing each other like that.
He loved doing end of Heartache through chairs. He used to do that on NXT.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking when it happened, I was thinking the same thing. Next match is a continuation of the Young Bucks and their bloody white clothes. See, this is how
I heard they said after the thing. I heard that they attacked Sting's sons too.
They did. The Sting Son tried to come in the ring. They got jumped too. Yeah, they got beat down too. I didn't mention that part, but yeah, they got beat down too.
I seen that beat down too. Like, oh my god. But I love that image though. That's a mafia image, bro. Like, you just beat the shit out of somebody. You got blood all on your white suits. Now they're mad they're mad probably because their white suits got dirty.
So they got a squash match with Mondo Rocks and Robbie Lit. This match.
Robbie Lit.
That's their name.
Oh Lord.
This match went 2 minutes 11 seconds. EVP Trigger finished them off after giving low blows to them.
Dang, they got more time than Maxine Dupree and the characters I did on Raw.
After the match, they said they want more respect and congratulate Sting and Darby Allin for winning the tag titles. Though they're apparently banged up right now. Well, thanks to them. That being said, they still want their titles back, and they're not going to play by the rules to get there.
I'm mad at
But they said, they said they will play by the rules to get there by going through the rankings or whatever. But they said, by God, we're getting those titles back.
I'm mad at one thing, man.
Go ahead.
As douchey as y'all are, y'all beat the hell out these guys. You got your all whites. And first thing I'm saying, like, hold on, man. I'm like, man, I know they on the shelf right now, but y'all gotta come out these pockets for these white suits that got damaged last week. This is y'all fault. Like those are some clean white suits. Like, if you really douching it up, that's how you gotta douche it up. Like, you know what? We EVPs. You know what? These suits cost like $10,000. We're gonna take that out y'all what's the name. Really mess with them. That's just me though.
Mystico and Matt Sydal was the next match.
Rampage. What's the name? He always on Rampage.
Yeah, and he lost again on Rampage. Mystico got the victory here with a Super Spanish Fly. 8 minutes.
Super Spanish Fly?
Super Spanish
What's a
Fly.
Spanish Super Fly? You flip twice?
I think it's just higher.
Okay. All right.
You know what
I
I'm
guess. Okay.
8 minutes, 48 seconds.
after that match, Brian Cage. So Hook beat up the Outrunners that we mentioned last week in a squash match. Brian Cage says, "Who cares? I can do that." So then he just booked himself a squash match against some same two on Collision. So we'll see that. We'll talk about that next week.
Brian Cage is somebody that need to go.
We talked about that on Mount Rushmore before.
Man,
We talked about this before. And now we get your main event. The ladies taking the main event in this one. Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander taking on Saraya and Ruby Soho. We get storyline progression here. Stokely Hathaway was on commentary. Hardy Cameron at ringside, also playing the crazy person as always. As she was coming down to the ring, Ruby Soho had some white note in her pocket she was reading. And somehow it affected what she did in this match. At one point in time in the match, Ruby Soho was holding Willow Nightingale while Saraya ran in for a clothesline. Willow Nightingale ducked as usual, and she hit Ruby Soho. This pissed Ruby Soho off. At some point in time, besides having to fight their competition, they also ended up fighting each other. With that started that. We'll get down to the end. So after that happens, Statlander hits a powerbomb for 2 after everything breaks down. Saraya knees Statlander down for 2. This is what I'm talking about, the part she actually hit solo. It was actually, she was holding Statlander and not Willow Nightingale, my bad. Anyway, coming back from that, gets a Blue Thunder bomb, that gets a 2 count. From there, that distraction caused the Babe with the power bomb, Willow Nightingale, to hit that on Saraya and get the victory. Because Saraya went for the tag, but Soho jumped off the apron to avoid it. Like, I'm not on it no more. So I think they're starting to break up the Outcast because she was trying to call to her as she was walking up the ramp, just looking at it.
Just them two, ain't it? Because Tony Storm really counting the Outcast now?
No, she's not Outcast at all. And then it's just them two and then the Hardy Cameron chick. Post-match, Sky Blue and Julia Hart were standing outside the ring staring at Nightingale Statlander. Get more continuation of that later. And that was the end of Rampage. And that also is the end of our show today. Yeah. Next week we'll come back bigger and better than as we always do. We'll definitely come with the Mount Rushmore, and next week's show is the same without a paper and more new news and notes. Hopefully no more on Vince.
Please no more Vince
and Kennedy McMahon. Hopefully not. So with that being said, I want half of your hosts. I'm Rob.
I'm Clint.
We're gonna get out of here and go watch the Super Bowl.
You're gonna watch the Super Bowl.
With the ring.